Welcome to the episode 1 of Communication Challenge. So as mentioned in previous video, I have started going through the first chapter of the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. So the first chapter name is If you want to gather honey, don't kick over the beehive. That is very good naming. So in the first chapter, writer talks about the very major factor, which is criticism. It is one of the major factor while you are dealing with people or communicating with people. So definition of criticism is that an expression of what you think is bad about somebody or something. So writer talks about criticism by very good examples. He talks about very well known figures such as Abraham Lincoln, Al Capone, Theodore Roosevelt, Bob Hoover, and many more people. So, uh, criticism is really very well, you know, I'll not say a very good thing, but it is one of the major thing. I was not aware about like criticism can do such things, but after reading this first chapter, I got to know like criticism can do this much of harm for a person of the way of like to a person how he thinks, how he lives, or how he understands the world. So there are good example. So in the first like if I in one of the example given in the book, uh, when Abraham Lincoln was practicing law, like his lawyer, so he used to criticize people very openly and badly. So in one of the example, when uh, Abraham Lincoln openly did criticize one of the politician like by the name James Shield. So he did openly criticize the that person, and because of that, James was not in good. I think the pride of that person get hurt. So because of that, he challenged Abraham to a duel. Yep. Uh, at that time, that was yep happening. So because of like certain circumstances, Abraham did uh, accepted the duel challenge, and that duel was uh, was going to be the till the death, and there will be only one winner. So uh, uh, that date has been set for that duel, but somehow that duel never happened, and after that Abraham Lincoln did learn one of the major thing, that never to criticize any person. But there was after that he never ever openly did criticize any person around him. But there was one instance uh, when one of the army general never like didn't listen his order, and because of that he did he wrote a letter of a kind of a resentment letter to that person, but he never sent that. And in this process, writers talks about how criticism do creates resentment in other person. If you criticize any person, there will be he'll be hurt, he'll try to explain himself why he did what he did, and so on. And somewhere he'll going to kind of going to take revenge of that criticism, of that hurt. Yep. So when we are dealing with people, do understand that criticism is dangerous because it wounds a person's precious pride, hurts his sense of importance and arouse resentment. Yup. Also, there is one great example where like there is very good way of how to treat a person. So when uh, this incident happened with Bob Hoover. So he was very skilled pilot. So on one of his air show, uh, he was flying World War II propeller plane. So mechanic did miss that this was the World War II plane, and he by mistake he did um, fueled plane with the jet fuel, and because of that uh, the plane crashed. But somehow magically and with the Bob Hoover on plane, he did landed very safely. There was no one injured. But after that incident, Bob Hoover directly approached to that person. So you will think right now that he'll be out of his mind. He'll gonna kind of kill that person or going to hurt that person. But when Bob Hoover seen that person, that mechanic, what he say is very very great. So mhm, this is how he say when uh, uh, he put his big arm around his man's shoulder and said, "To show you, I'm sure that you'll never do this again. I want you to service my F-51 tomorrow." Yeah, that is how a big man treats a little man. By Carly, there is one saying, "A great man shows his greatness by the way he treats little man." That is very deep to understand. So yep, that is all for the episode one. There is also one of the great example. There is a small article, little piece you can say, "Father Forgets," that by W. Livingston Larned. Even writer did wrote that in his book. So you should watch this. I'll put the link in the description. Yep, that's for the first episode first. So the lesson from this chapter is that don't criticize, condemn, or complain. So that's the first principle when we are dealing with people around us or communicating with the people around us. See you in the next video.